I think one of the great things about Sam and Andrea's story will be all that they've been through to get to this point right here. I'm not sure that there's very many stories of dating or engaged relationships that is quite as unique as theirs. To meet in Southeast Asia as you're individually fulfilling God's call on your life, to make disciples of Jesus among a people that are not your own, in a country that is not your own, in a culture that is not your own. And I don't think we can cruise past that part of your story, because you were both fulfilling a call on your lives individually to do something that God was uniquely calling you to do. It's kind of like you were following Jesus and just collided with someone else who has the same heartbeat that you do. And that's just awesome. But that's not completely what makes it unique. The interesting part begins, Andrea, your time serving is over. So you come back to the United States, but Sam, you have another year to serve, and so you make a difficult decision to not stay home to be with this woman you're falling in love with, but you go to fulfill God's call on your life, demonstrating that His will is more important than your own comfort and desires. But man, before you leave, you jump all in and ask her to marry you, even though you're leaving for 9 months. So now your story goes from miles to inches, literally, from nearly 10,000 miles apart to inches apart. And this is what I think is the most memorable part, that you guys are doing a long-distance engagement and struggling through all that entails, and then wham, global pandemic. So all the work in your country is put on hold, and Sam, you're coming home. And now the two of you are quarantining together at your mom's house, Sam, moving from miles to inches, from struggling with long distance to struggling with not enough distance. So why would I go through the story that both of you, obviously, and most of us here know as well, as part of your wedding? Well, it's because of the verses that you chose to be read in the ceremony. These verses come out of a book in the Bible that I think the entire book could be summarized in this way, in 3 simple words. What is truth? Ecclesiastes is all about how meaningless and pointless life is if there is no God. What is truth if there is no God? But yet here in the midst of a book about how meaningless life is, the author takes a break and talks about the value of relationships. He says 2 are better than 1 is what he writes. Why are 2 better than 1? Well, he says that they can accomplish more work together than 1 person. 2 are better than 1 because 1 person can lift the other up if they fall. But he doesn't stop there. He says, you know what's even better than that? A 3-stranded cord is not quickly broken.
You're falling from the sky. You're rolling in my mind. Whisper in my breath. How can I be without you?
Sam and Andrea, when we had our first premarital counseling session, I asked you guys a question. How do you define a successful marriage? And you both answered, without hesitation, to put God first. A successful marriage is one that puts God first. And so then I asked a follow-up question. When is a marriage successful? How do you know that one is successful? And the answer you gave that I wrote down in my notes was this. Look at what it produces. What fruit does it bear? The importance of your story to this day, this moment, is that God has been the 3rd strand all along. You have put God first in your life separately, and you've done that even in your dating and engaged relationship. The fruit of you putting God's first is bearing this moment right here, because God has woven your 2 hearts together, and your hearts are bound together with the cord of Christ. But that strand woven through your hearts, bringing them together, didn't just start when you started to date. No, it began to happen when you both, not even knowing one another, made the decision to give up your life and follow Jesus. Friends and family, Sam and Andrea want you to know that what brings them together and the point of making this covenant relationship is not fate. It's not luck. It's not some mysterious love force that drew them into a divine essence in their spiritual beings. They are here because they believe the gospel, and that has changed everything.
Who am I if not you?